Alright, we've all seen the videos. People can beat Fallout with their bare hands, as a pacifist, without leveling up, upside down, eyes closed, uphill, in the snow, both ways. Shit, I know a guy who beat the game with just the tip of his penis. But that's a video for another day. This run is a bit different, mostly because I've never done a challenge run before, and I lack those qualities called tact and nuance. So I'm just gonna try to brute force this run and see what happens. When I played this game for the first time over a decade ago, I stumbled upon this gun, lost my mind over the thought of infinite ammo, realized it was shit compared to other guns, and tossed it in the trash. To be quite honest, I haven't thought about it in years. Now, this weapon is perfectly decent against unarmored enemies, but against anything with armor, you may as well be hurling rocks. Plus, once you've blown your metaphorical wad, you're stuck waiting for it to recharge mid-combat, which can be insanely dangerous. And there are better versions of this weapon available, but mama didn't raise no bitch. Well, in my everlasting quest to magically transform video games into productivity, I had to pose the question, can you beat Fallout New Vegas with hot garbage? So to start, I put all of my skill points into perception for the energy weapon damage, and luck for more frequent critical hits. I'm a full send kind of guy. Once again, zero nuance. I tagged energy weapons for obvious reasons, medicine to protect me, because the weapon damn sure wasn't going to, and for some reason barter? God, what has the world come to? We choose Wild Wasteland as a starting trait, just for the fun of it, and I thought it was a big brain move to choose Hot Blooded, which gives you 10% more damage when you drop below 50% health. But now that I'm in the edit, I realize that it also drops your perception, which in turn drops your energy weapon damage. So, lesson learned. I should read more. As always, we burgle the house of the old man who saved our life, flush our DLC items down the toilet, and head off to get our ass kicked. Now, we need a game plan. This being a mid-game item, I wouldn't be able to defend myself until I pick it up. So, I decided to take a look at the RepCon test site, as you're apparently likely to pick one up from a Dead Bright Brotherhood member, and that seemed like the quickest, albeit most dangerous solution. So we decided to cut straight through the desert, past the prison, directly to RepCon. Only that didn't work. We were smacked down by some powder gangsters and an invisible wall. So, backup plan. The famous Black Mountain Path. We ran past some human centipedes and snuck past the mutants until we hit our first major rest stop, Novak. Now, the path up to RepCon is generally spotted with 1 or 2 ghouls, but it seemed like they all knew I was coming into town, because they were crowded up like BTS fans at an airport. I didn't want to use any companions to clear the path for me, but using unaffiliated NPCs to do my dirty work, that seems pretty fair to me.
What can I do for you?
Now, I had the idea that I could just run in, grab a gun off a corpse real quick, and blast my way out, but it didn't quite work that way. I had to Pac-Man my way around this maze while running from The Walking Dead. And to add insult to injury, I kept getting taunted by Fallout RNG. Hoping for a moment of peace, I went upstairs to the friendly ghouls, who apparently side with their brain rot cousins if they follow you upstairs. Which is fine, I just brought them all down to Harland in the basement for yet another round of NPC tower defense. And after all the effort we've had other people put into this run for us, we finally made it to level 2. I scoured RepCon, and didn't find shit. So, with no weapon to show for our hard work, it was time to wander the wastes once again, and we only had one goal in mind. After making the trek to Freeside, we stepped into the Silver Rush, where the Van Graffs made our goal really easy on us. For an arms dealer, they have terrible security. Even Walmart stops you from bringing merchandise into the bathroom. And with weapon finally in hand, it was time to rain destruction upon the houses of all those who wronged us. Even Chris Handsome. Now to push the story forward. At this point, we didn't have the $2,000 to buy our way into Vegas properly, and don't have the speech to get the counterfeit passport from Mike and Ralph's. So, the most logical choice was to stroll into an active military base and hijack their train, which evidently isn't a punishable offense, because nobody seems to care except for the 2 guys who you'll never see again. Now that we're in the strip with our best friend Victor, we can stroll right across the street to murder a public figure. I didn't have the speech or sneak stats to get the recharger pistol into the tops, so my best option without grinding for levels was to wage war on the entire building. And after committing the atrocity, the strip still had no opinion of me. So I'd say we got away with that one scot-free. Of course we stopped by Benny's room to confer with Yes Man, who helps you initiate the quickest ending of the game. We went to H&H Tools to get the keycard so we could assassinate a 200-year-old tech mogul, who is surprisingly agile. Then we installed Yes Man on the big TV, which gives him enough power to help you take over the wasteland. We also helped upgrade his robot army, but that goes without saying. From here, all you really have to do is visit a couple of communities and decide whether you want to demolish them or not before the final battle. So I took this opportunity to do some things I hardly do in this game, fulfilling fantasies and doing quests I rarely touch, because I wasn't quite ready to let this run go yet. First, I knocked out the Omerta's storyline so I could get that flashy gold Apple Watch, began gaining the Brotherhood's trust, which includes like 10 fetch quests that lead you into dangerous areas, and hit up Red Rock Canyon to complete the Great Khan storyline for once. The first task I took on for them was to meet one of their soldiers in the wastes. What I thought was going to be a quick jaunt through giant scorpion territory actually turned into a Deathclaw nightmare. I realized brute force was not an option for once, so I had to dip my little toes into the pool of tact, which did not go well. This led to a multitude of deaths, and even an eventual soft lock. This is the moment where I realized I'd fucked up. It had been some time since my last save, and I didn't have enough time to get to safety. I quick-saved in panic. With each reload, I had maybe 3 seconds to act before getting rocked. I didn't have nearly enough time to try to cripple a leg, he was just too powerful. And I didn't even have enough time to jump off the cliff to safety. I eventually started thinking I could avoid the attacks with precise timing, but this didn't really work. I had to rely on the help of performance-enhancing drugs. I realized that Med-X would help me survive one attack, which would allow me to heal up before the Deathclaw's second. This was progress. Only a few feet, but progress nonetheless. And if I would get lucky, he'd miss a few attacks and I'd be able to squeeze an extra foot or two out of the run. My working plan was to dodge the first attack, Med-X for the second, heal for the third, and be very close to the goal. But at this point, a friend had recommended another option.
Throw shit at him. Like he won't have like a trip animation, but it might slow him down. Like it actually might slow him down.
No.
Anything was worth a shot at this point. By some luck, after 182 deaths and all of my healing materials, I was able to damage boost through all the way to my goal. My initial thoughts hold true. Brute force. Zero nuance.
These fools had no fucking
I stopped
faith.
watching for a minute. How did you get away?
I know, the one time I look away and I'm like...
Already?
Yeah, of course. I'm safe scumming the hell out of this. I'm safe scumming the hell out of this. Oh god, now I get the terrible effects of being addicted to everything.
How did you guys believe in him?
I don't know.
After dealing with that mess, I thought it was finally time to pick on someone our own size. I made my way over to Cottonwood Cove to save Anders and progress the Khan storyline. And I guess I figured, while I'm here. It should be said that I hadn't done any research for this run. And by that, I mean I almost missed a critical piece of this puzzle. The Meltdown perk. This perk causes any enemy killed with energy damage to explode. That's pretty sick. The camp itself proved to be a little more challenging than expected. I found myself running for long periods of time while the pistol recharged itself. And among the crowd of soft legionnaires were a handful whose armor kept them alive long enough to do some real damage. This is when I realized I could use weaker enemies as fodder to deal some explosion damage to the stronger ones. Sorry, doggy. After clearing out the initial horde, I tried for Caesar's tent, and immediately got schmacked. Luckily, if you leave the tent, only a few of the guards come out to chase you, and if you just took on 15 of them, you can definitely take 2. This strategy eventually culminated in a tense 1v1 with the man himself. With Caesar having been dethroned, we moved on to tie up some loose ends before completing the run. I killed some aliens, tucked my son into bed, stole that gun, helped Boone take revenge on his wife's murderer, killed a bunch of ants, finished gaining the Brotherhood's trust only to use it against them, inadvertently led a Legion hit squad into a raider trap watching them tear each other apart, and rerouted Hoover Dam's power to an overkill weapon and gave it back to the kid I bought it from. Alright, I think I got enough out of this run. Let's do this. As soon as I stepped into Hoover Dam, I realized I'd screwed up again. The power armor I fought so hard to get ended up being useless because I never actually bought faction-free armor. As soon as I walked up, the NCR thought I was their enemy, so I had to ditch the armor. Walking into this fight without many healing products, and now without power armor, I had to loot what I could and resort to some coward tactics. Once I got inside the dam, it was time to publicly break up with the NCR, which allowed me to re-equip the Brotherhood power armor. The final walk through the dam would become the last moment of peace that I would see in this run. As opposed to when I had cleared out Cottonwood Cove, many of the Legionnaires here demonstrated a strong resistance to the recharger pistol. On top of that, there were a million of them, and some of them had been taking pot shots at my dumbass from a distance. I know you can use speech checks to brush past the final boss, but I really thought I would walk in and wipe the floor with him. Let's just say he was a bit more difficult than I had prepared for. My preferred Stop! Stop making noise! My preferred tactic of leg crippling didn't seem to be working on him, and I tried shooting the blade out of his hands, but I could never really get that to work either. And on the infrequent occasion when I could set up a meltdown explosion near him, it didn't really do enough damage to make the setup worth it. I even tried getting him to knock me out of bounds, but I never made it happen. I was grasping at straws here. In fact, during the editing for this video, I found that many of these efforts were in vain, as he cannot be disarmed and crippling his legs does not slow him down like other characters. I was beginning to think I was going to have to reload and farm for stim packs and other health items. But, in a flash before my death, a vision was sent to me. It all came together. New plan. Take everything we've learned and put them into one perfect attempt. First, we use turbo so I can feel like this. Then, use my newfound speed to disarm everyone I can and steal their weapons, so they have to resort to melee. Lead Leggett into the sacrificial cow tank and go buck wild. Once he's taken care of, just gotta do some cleanup. Then we just have Yes Man take out the trash and we're done with the game! This was a pretty good starter run for me. I would definitely recommend doing something like this if you're interested. Choosing a later game item was the play because half the fun was not having a gun for a while. After I did pick it up, the run became pretty simple, aside from the occasional armored enemy. Overall, it was fun. Alright, if you enjoyed this at all, try checking out cross-platform media, where my friends and I play games and talk about movies and destroy Pokemon cards. It's a pretty fun time. We're all about community over there. Catch y'all later.